Lovely to see you all on this beautiful autumnal day. And this one's inspired by a poem and a conversation. So I start with a conversation. I had a conversation with a physio friend of mine earlier in the week. And she was talking about her treatments that she was doing and how busy she was becoming. And she said, oh yes, we've moved on from summer injuries and I'm now seeing the winter injuries. I said, what? She said, summer, I see lots of people with lower back and hamstring issues from gardening, cycling, running, all of these kind of unaccustomed activities that we tend only to do when the weather is nice. I said, so what are you seeing now? And she said, upper back, shoulders and neck. I said, why is that? She said, winter posture. And if you look around you as you're walking around, it starts to get colder, not perhaps today, but as it starts to get colder, I can feel myself doing it. We start to kind of do this and round in on ourselves to keep ourselves warm. So just kind of sideways on, you can see what happens. You know, you do the turkey neck, your back starts to round, your shoulders end up around your ears. But if you think about your front body, it overstretches all of this. But your digestion, your capacity to breathe fully as well becomes quite compressed. So for all sorts of reasons, it's really good every now and again to have a heart-opening practice so we can counter that. And especially, I think, during this time when so many of us have been sitting at computers, so we're already kind of in that Zoom position over the screen and over our keyboard. So this one today is going to be to open across the front body, soften the shoulders, and really not just relax the upper back, but also to strengthen the upper back. So when we kind of default into that position, we've got the muscle capacity to kind of draw the shoulder blades together down the back and feel nice and open across the center of the chest. That's what we're going to do today, a heart-opening practice. Beautiful. So we're going to start lying down today. When we come up to stand, I'll move the camera so I don't decapitate myself, but we'll start lying down today. And we'll keep the feet on the floor. So if you want to bring your knees with you when you lie yourself down initially. Oh, that feels nice. Maybe bring your knees in towards your chest. And even though my friend was kind of talking about summer and winter injuries, some of us throughout the year do suffer from a tight back. So sometimes it's quite nice to have a little roll around to release the back. And then we'll bring the feet down to the floor when you're ready. And I'm going to keep my feet a little wider apart than my hips, so I can just let my knees prop each other up there. So I'll keep the feet on the floor, the knees pointing up towards the ceiling. Feel free to take the feet wider apart. And take a moment just to kind of snuggle your shoulder blades down your back. So you feel nice and open across the chest, nice and broad across the upper back. And just for the purposes of the beginning, we'll place one hand on the lower belly, one hand on your chest, one hand on your heart. Doesn't matter which hand is where. And let's just take a moment to arrive, closing the eyes. I'm going to sit up just for a minute so I can read you the second inspiration, which was a little reading I found. And just for a moment, close your eyes. And having the hands just gently resting on the body at the start of a practice, I think gives us that more visceral experience of our breath. So beginning to feel the breath just coming into the space beneath both hands. And take a moment to notice if you can feel it perhaps in your upper or your lower hand a bit more deeply. Another thing that happens when we get kind of cold or busy, anxious, all of the above, we tend to breathe into our chest a little bit more than our belly. Now, that's no bad thing, but if we do that all the time, the little muscles around our neck and our shoulders have to work doubly hard to lift and lower the diaphragm, and they're not designed to kind of do all of that work on their own. So if you notice that the breath is kind of underneath that top hand in your chest, see if you can, over the next few breaths, just begin to encourage the breath to drop down into your lower belly without forcing. And ideally, we really would like to be in a position where we can feel the breath evenly beneath both hands. So just connecting with the breath. And I'll just read you this little poem or reading just to start our practice. And there might be a word, a line, maybe a couple of lines that might just resonate with you this morning. Put your hand on your heart, the old man said. Inside you, there is a power. There are ideas, thoughts that no one has ever thought of. There is the strength to love, purely and intensely, and to have someone love you back. There is the power to make people happy and to make people laugh. The heart is full of compliments and has the power to change lives and futures. Don't forget that power and don't ever give up on it. So a lovely one to open the heart, really open across the back, soften the shoulders, all of that this morning. Let's just take a couple more breaths where we are, softening the face, making sure again that the jaw isn't tense, another sign of the cold weather. We start to kind of screw our face up against the northerly and easterly winds. So softening the face, and then just gently release the arms down alongside you. And you might just feel the echo, the resonance of your hands still resting on your chest and your belly, still continuing to draw the breath evenly. We'll just turn the palms down, and you can keep the legs as they are, the knees just knocked in towards one another as you just lengthen the arms now. So wiggle your fingertips down towards your heels, finding a nice long neck. And as you inhale, let's float the arms all the way up and above the head. Some of you might even reach the floor behind you. And then as you exhale, let's bring the arms all the way back down to the floor. Palms down, fingertips lengthening towards heels. So we'll do that 4 more times. So if the shoulders are tight today, try taking the arms out in a nice wide V shape rather than having the upper arms by your ears. Keeping that nice sense of space, working with your breath. So if you're moving faster or slower, I'm going to do 3 more. So we've done a total of 5. So trying to soften the ribcage. So see if you can avoid arching your upper back as you float the arms up and back. So you're really keeping the area between the shoulder blades, pressing down into the mat. So we're beginning to mobilize through the shoulders. My counting is correct. I'm doing that twice more. Math never was my strong point. Inhale to reach all the way up and back, not worrying if your hands don't reach the floor. Exhale, coming all the way down. Last time, so let's take the arms all the way up towards the ceiling and behind the head, spreading the fingers nice and wide. And then lowering the arms. Beautiful. When the palms touch down this time, we'll turn the palms up towards the ceiling and just bring the arms out level with the shoulders there. So palms up towards the ceiling. And just draw the fingertips apart, so really lengthen out the arms in opposite directions so you can feel a lovely broadness across the chest. And now with the palms up towards the ceiling, see if you can begin to press the thumb edge of your hand a little bit more firmly in towards the floor, so the little fingers might tilt up towards the ceiling a little bit, so you're really opening through the shoulders. And then just turn the palms down, sort of rolling across the outside of the hand so the palms come down to the floor, and just notice what that does to the shoulders. Now the shoulders are more inwardly rotating. So as you inhale, turn the palms up, pressing little finger edge, thumb edge of the hand into the floor. And then as you exhale, turn the palms down and feel the shoulders roll inwards. We'll do that twice more. So just feeling that little movement. So as you really press into your thumbs, really try and turn the little finger edge of your hands up towards the ceiling. And most of us in winter, we're going to be inwardly rotating. So that sensation when your palms are down towards the floor. What we want to do is to keep the shoulders open. So the next time the palms are open, let's pause there, pressing again the thumb edge of your hands down, really firming up across the upper back there. We'll separate the knees, so walking your feet now hip width apart. Knees pointing up towards the ceiling, take an inhale. And as you exhale, let's drop the knees over to the right. Keep pressing the thumb edge of the hand down, maybe rolling chin in the opposite direction to your knees. Lovely. And take a moment there to really breathe into that left side of your body, left lung space there. But try and drop the weight a little bit more heavily into that left shoulder blade. Lovely, introducing that first little bit of twist this morning. And then the knees come back to center, the gaze comes back to center, take an inhale. And let's exhale over to the other side. So as you drop the knees over to the left, this time it's that right shoulder blade you want to try and just settle into. Taking the gaze over that right arm if you wish. Taking a couple of nice breaths into that right side of the body, the right lung. Lovely. Inhaling up through center. Exhaling once more over to the right. And you can keep both feet on the floor, hip width apart, or this time you might want to bring your knees and your ankles together so the inside edges of your feet are stacked on top of each other. And you can keep that left arm where it is, or bring the gaze up towards the ceiling and reach that left arm all the way back behind you. So this time the shoulder blade might lift a little bit. And as you lengthen the fingertips to the wall behind you, think about just lifting and pressing that top hip away from you. So we've not collapsed in the underneath waist. We're trying to find as much length and space through that left side of the body as you can. That's not for your shoulders today, then just keep the arms out, just shoulder height there. Let's take one more nice breath there. Really feeling that left side of the body rising and falling before you lower the arms, level with the shoulders, bring the knees back up through center, separating the feet, take an inhale, exhale over to the left. And again, you can keep the feet exactly as they are, about hip width apart, or stack the joints, so knees and ankles together. And you might want to just turn the head over that right arm, shoulder height, or gaze comes back to the ceiling. And this time the right arm stretches back and we just lift and press that top hip away from you. So I'm feeling a delicious stretch on this very tight side of mine. Or just really bring the breath into that right side of the body there. Really try and open up some space between the ribs. It's really nice stretch on the top of the hip as well, where I get very tight. Oh, gorgeous. And then we'll bring the arms just back level with the shoulders, bring the knees back up to center. And then we'll gather the knees in towards the chest, one hand on each knee, widening the knees as you cross the ankles and have a little massage out through the back. We'll not forget the lower back. We'll give that a little bit of TLC now. A little bit of massage as you circle the knees round. First one way. And then you can change the cross of your ankles in the direction of that circle. Just take them round the opposite way. Lovely. So we're going to find our way to seated. So feel free to roll to one side, or you can hold on behind your knees and have a little playful rock up this morning. Beautiful. So I'm going to sit cross-legged, but any position of the legs that works for you really doesn't matter. Sitting up nice and tall, so you might want a block or a cushion underneath your bottom there. One hand back on the chest, one hand back on the lower belly. Drop the elbows, soften the shoulders, and allow your chin just to drop down towards your chest. But keep lifting your breastbone into that top hand, so the spine and the chest stays beautifully open. Now we're going to do something called a star breath. So take up as much space as you can. As you inhale, take the arms out on a lovely wide V, lovely diagonal shape, lifting the chin. Take up as much space as you can, stretching the fingers. So as you exhale, changing the hand. So other hand on the chest, other hand on the lower belly as you drop your chin down towards your chest. So inhaling, opening the arms out nice and wide, lifting up through the breastbone. Beautiful. And as you exhale, changing hands again. So other hand on top, chin dropping down towards chest. Twice more. So really taking up as much space as you can, broaden the arms, lifting up through the heart, and then we kind of come back to that central point, but trying to keep the spine nice and lifted. Lovely. Just once more, inhale. Oh, beautiful. Exhale. Lovely, hands to heart. This time let's come up into that lovely wide V, that lovely star shape. Spread the fingers, reaching out on the diagonal, lifting up through the chest. And just bring the arms just to frame the head, so you can interlace the hands and push the palms up towards the ceiling. Take a nice breath in. And as you breathe out, just drop the arms, just level with the shoulders. Hug your navel back towards your spine, drop your chin to your chest to make that lovely C shape through your back. Lovely stretch between the shoulder blades, lovely. And then we'll push the palms all the way up towards the ceiling. Drop the chin down towards your chest and see if you can bring your hands behind your head. And then we'll lift the chin, so you're pressing the back of your head into your hands. If that's a little bit too much today, then just bring your fingertips to your temples. Lovely. So we'll draw the elbows back, maybe even drop the head into your hands. Take a nice breath in. And as you breathe out, elbows draw towards one another, rounding the back, elbows point towards one another. The brace position on a plane. Inhale, open the elbows wide, drop the head into the hands, open the heart. Exhale as you round the back so the elbows are kind of pointing towards one another, getting that delicious stretch. Once more, inhale. Lovely. And exhale, gorgeous. This time we'll find that nice space between the elbows as you lift your chin level with the floor, draw the elbows apart, take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, right elbow dips down, left elbow, can you keep it pointing up towards the ceiling as you come into a little side bend? Keep rooting down through the sit bones. Let's come all the way back up through center, working these obliques, other side. So try and keep that top elbow pointing skywards as you dip the other one down. We'll do one more each way. So it's requiring quite a bit of work through the side of the body. We're not using our hands as we usually do in this little side stretch. So it's unsupported, elbows wide. Beautiful. Let's come all the way back up through center. And this time as we dip to the right, we'll look down and bring the right hand down to the floor. Left hand stays where it is. Lovely. I'm going to draw that elbow up towards the ceiling. Maybe roll the gaze skywards. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, left elbow comes across and points down towards your right knee. Inhaling, taking the elbow up towards the ceiling, rolling the gaze up, opening through the chest. Exhale as you draw that elbow across the body towards opposite knee. Lovely. Just once more, inhale. Lovely. And exhale. So this time we'll point the elbow up towards the ceiling, pressing the back of your head into your hand. Option to stay there, or stretching that arm alongside the ear now, coming into that more usual position with our side stretch, lifting your ear towards your upper arm, and see if you can straighten that underneath arm a little bit, so we're feeling a little bit of work in that underneath waist. Beautiful. Let that left arm carry you all the way back up towards the center, sweeping both arms up towards the ceiling so you can interlace them. Dropping the chin to the chest, hands come behind the head, and then press the back of the head into the hands. Take a nice breath in, and we'll come over to the left this time. So left elbow down, right elbow up, and we'll look down and bring the left hand down, just alongside the hip. And then really point that top elbow up towards the ceiling. You can even turn the head as well if that's comfortable. Take an inhale. Exhale as you bring the elbow across to opposite knee. And then inhale, so we push the floor away, open up through the chest, elbow point skywards. Exhale as you round on it, lovely, just once more. So we're getting a lovely lateral stretch across the back and that really nice opening through the chest. So last time, elbow coming across, probably won't touch the knee, or at least mine doesn't. Let's point the elbow up towards the ceiling. Option to stay there, just cradling the head or stretching that top arm out, lifting it towards upper arm, and try straightening the underneath arm a little bit so we're not collapsing into the underneath waist there. It's got a nice long side body. Beautiful. Let's come all the way back up through center, walking the hands behind you, fingertips pointing forwards or slightly out to the side. And let's loop the shoulders down the back. Press into your hands. Bring the chest forwards, maybe lift the chin. Try and avoid throwing the head too far back. Your neck won't thank you for it. Just take a couple of glorious breaths there. I can see the sunshine outside. Beautiful. And then slowly release by finding your way onto all fours. So you can just roll over your feet, or you can uncross everything and we'll come onto our mats, hands under shoulders. Again, spreading the hands nice and wide. If the shoulders are feeling a bit tight today, just take the hands wider apart. Give yourself some more space there. And press into the hands. So already we can feel that the area between the shoulder blades is engaging there. And then we'll do that lovely cat-cow to open the front and the back seam of the body. So dipping the belly down, tailbone lifts. As you draw your heart forwards, keep pressing into your hands so we're not sinking into the shoulder blades. Beautiful. And then as you tuck the tailbone under, we begin to ripple up like an angry cat, spreading some space between the shoulder blades there. Inhaling, chest comes forwards, keep pressing into your hands as you bring your heart forwards between your arms. And then exhaling, spreading some space between the shoulder blades. Maybe closing the eyes there so you can continue to enjoy that sense of stretching and opening through the back and the front seam of the body there. Or as you come into that lovely angry cat, just make sure that your shoulders stay above your wrists. I've got a dreadful habit of dropping my weight back ever so slightly. So as you do that just a couple more times, see if you can keep the joints in alignment, wrists, elbows, and shoulders. Beautiful, we'll do that just once more. And then we'll find that lovely tabletop position. Space lengthening down the back of the body from the crown of the head down to your tailbone. Beautiful. So bring your right hand, your left hand to your heart. So we're pushing the floor away with that right hand. And we'll start to turn the chest to the left, almost leading with the heart. And then reaching that left arm all the way up towards the ceiling. See if you can wrap it behind the low back. Some of you might even find the top of your right waist or hip there. So you're really opening up through that shoulder. Try and keep that sense of openness now as you reach the left arm up towards the ceiling again. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, let's thread needles. So reach that arm underneath. Lovely. Inhale, pushing into that right hand, left arm lifts. And exhale, feed it through. So we're going to do one more like this. And we're going to add on a little variation if you wish. Inhale. And this time as you exhale, bring both hands down underneath the shoulders. And we'll stretch the right leg back behind you, ball of foot to floor, and just take care that that right hip hasn't lifted. So making sure both hip bones stay pointed down towards the mat. Stretch the heel away from you. And again, we're going to repeat that thread needle. So inhale, left arm lifted. Exhale as you feed the arm through. Trying to keep the lower body still, so you might not come down quite so far. Twice more. So really working into the upper back now as we stabilize through the lower body. So once more like this, with the ball of the foot pressing into the floor. We're going to do that twice more, so option to stay there. We'll try lifting that right leg level with the hip if you want a little balance challenge. So as you feed the arm through, we try and keep that right leg extended. So a little bit of core work. If that's too challenging this morning, then bring the ball of the foot to the floor. Lovely. Let's take the arm up. Let's all lower that right foot, so ball of foot to floor. And this time as you thread the needle, we're going to pause. So threading that left arm through, coming down onto the side of the shoulder, the side of the head there. Just shift the weight forward there, so you're really stabilizing yourself. You can adjust the position of that right hand. If you feel a little bit wibbly wobbly, then just bend both knees and bring them underneath the hips. If you're feeling again that you want a little bit challenge, you can try lifting that right leg. Again, just level with the hip, just as we've just done. Toes face down. Again, weight shifting forwards. Beautiful. And then slowly, slowly lower the foot. Bring both knees back underneath the hips. Press into that right hand as you take the left arm up. Nice breath in. And as you breathe out, bring both hands down underneath the shoulders. That was fun, wasn't it? Let's do that with the right hand. So right hand to the heart. So turning from the heart, really try and turn up towards the ceiling, turning the chest, reaching that right arm up. And then we wrap the back of the hand around to the low back, or some of you might even be able to find the top of your left hip there, left waist. Depends how open we are in the shoulders. You can look up or down, whatever feels comfortable. Try and keep that top shoulder open as you reach the arm up. Take an inhale, threading the needle as you exhale. So when you feed that right arm through, lovely. Hand hovers. Inhale, turn the chest again. Open up through that top shoulder. Exhale as you feed the arm through. Just once more. See how it feels on this side. So knowing that all of those add-ons that we're going to do, you can stay exactly as you are. So this time we'll take the arm up. And then we'll bring both hands down underneath the shoulders, ready for that little add-on should you wish. So this time it's the left leg that comes back behind you, ball of foot pressing away from you so the knee is straight. Both hips square onto the mat, right arm lifting, inhale. Exhale, we feed the arm through. So we're just working the upper back now, so the hips staying square towards the floor. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale as you feed the arm through. Option to keep the ball of the foot on the floor or lift that leg just level with the hip for the last two. Inhale. Exhale. Whoa, this is my wobbly side. Feed the arm through. So it's a little bit of core work that will sort us out this morning. And this time we'll bring the ball of the foot down as you reach the arm up. And we'll thread the arm through and pause this next time. So if you don't like that left leg extended, just bring both knees under the hips as you find that thread needle, feeding the right arm through so you can adjust the position of that left hand if you wish. Try shifting weight forwards a little bit for stability, particularly if you want to try that little balance challenge of lifting that left leg. So you're looking to the left and lifting the left leg. Anyone that can lift their right leg, I'll be really impressed, but I don't suggest it. Beautiful. Slowly, slowly, let's lower the foot. Bring both knees back underneath the hips. Push into that left hand as you take the right arm all the way up. Beautiful. And then we'll bring the hands down. Let's sit back in towards a child pose. We've got an option here. We can just stretch the arms out in front of us as we normally do. Or coming up onto your elbows. Elbows about shoulder width apart. Bring the palms together. And then as you drop your forehead down, you bring your thumbs towards the back of your head, maybe even towards the base of your neck. And as you sink your hips back, try pressing your elbows forwards and down as though you want to stretch them to the top corners of your mat. So elbows about shoulder width apart, hands in prayer, thumbs offered towards back of head. As you press your elbows forwards and down, you can maybe feel a little bit more engagement between the shoulder blades. If that's not for you, arms stretched out in front of you, palms flat to the mat or up on those little tented fingertips, getting a nice stretch through the side body. So wherever you are, really draw the breath into the back of the heart now. Opening up some space there. Beautiful. And then if you've got your thumbs just resting on the back of the head, we'll just reach the arms out in front of you. Beautiful. So we're going to come into a little flow. So we'll come back onto all fours. Lovely. And then tucking the toes under. Let's find our first downward dog of the day. Hips come nice and high. Lovely. So the knees might be generously bent in that first downward dog. And ripple the body forwards to plank. You might need to adjust the position of your hands or your feet so your shoulders are above your wrist. Keep pressing into your hands. Feel a lovely spreading between the shoulder blades. And then we'll drop down onto the knees and gently lower the body down between the window of the arms, elbows skim the rib cage. Pressing into your hands. Just peel the front body up into a little cobra. And then all the way up and back into that child pose where we began. So we're going to add the breath. So inhale as you come up onto all fours. And as you exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips downward facing dog, or you can stay on all fours today. Inhale as you ripple the body forwards to plank. Keep looking forwards, keep pressing into your hands. And as you exhale, knees down, chest down, arms, little grasshopper legs, hugging the rib cage. Flattening the feet, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, lifting the hips all the way up and back into that child pose. We're going to do that twice more. You can come up with a rounded back as you inhale in that lovely cat pose. And then exhale, up and back, pushing the hips up nice and high into that downward dog. Look forwards as you roll forwards to plank, inhaling. Knees might stay lifted or you can lower them as you exhale with control. All the way down, flatten the feet. Little baby cobra, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And exhale back into that child pose. Let's do that just once more. Just exploring those shapes. Inhale. Getting the body moving this morning. Exhale. Keep the neck long as you lift the hips into that downward dog. Really keep pressing into the hands as you ripple forwards to plank. Keep the shoulder blades broad. Exhaling, knees might kiss the earth first as you come all the way down. Beautiful, flatten the feet, baby cobra, inhale. And we'll all meet in that child pose, exhale. Well done, guys, gorgeous. So if you're going like downward dog, please stay on all fours, or this time we'll come forwards onto fours, and then we'll all pause in that downward dog, or you can stay on all fours. And as we hold this downward dog, you might want to start to walk out through the feet, a little pedal, bending one knee and then the other. A little shake of the head. And then as you find a moment of stillness in that downward dog, just think about your upper back here. Some of us tend to end up with our shoulders around our ears. So see if you can just draw the shoulder blades down away from the ears. So pressing the hands forwards and down, elevating the hips up and back, and find a position of your gaze. For me, that was a game changer. I always look back towards my heels, and now I just look directly down at the mat, and that really helps my neck and my shoulders there. So let's take a moment there, trying to think about lengthening the back. Beautiful, lovely axial extension, if we want to give it its technical term. And then bend the knees as you look forwards, and then spring step or help your right foot forwards, and lower the back knee. Beautiful. And find a lovely lunge, so sweep the arms all the way up, turning the palms forwards. Take a nice breath in as you reach up, and as you exhale, draw the elbows down, goalposting the arms, or cactus, elbows draw back and down, lovely. Inhale, arrow the arms up, palms face forwards. Exhale as you draw the arms back. So again, some of you might find the elbows can come almost behind the line of the body. Let's do that once more, inhale. Beautiful, and exhale. So this time we'll reach the arms up, turning the palms in so the upper arms frame the ears. Beautiful. We've got the right leg forward, so it's the left arm. We're going to draw a big circle back, bringing that left hand onto the top of your thigh, or maybe just resting it on your bottom there, reaching the fingertips apart. And those of you with any back issues, you can just stay there. Those of you who your back feels okay, maybe begin to sink the hips forwards and take that right arm back, lifting up through the chest as you slide the left fingertips towards the back of the knee. So coming into a heart opening, little back bend there. If that's not for you, shoulders stay in line with the hips. Beautiful. Let's all arrow both arms up, finding that lovely lunge, and then hands swim down to frame that front foot. Turning to the right, so right arm lifts, again peeling the arms apart, finding that lovely breadth across the chest. And again, if you're opening the shoulders, some of you might lean back and take that top arm a little further back behind you. Beautiful. Both hands come down to the inside of that front foot. Hugging your knee towards your upper arm. This time we'll twist to the left, so left arm lifting. So it's a little bit of hip opening as well as a lovely stretch across the chest. Beautiful. Both hands come down inside of the foot. Sliding back onto all fours and back into that child pose. Stretching the arms out nice and long. Inhaling back onto all fours, that little flow. Exhaling, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Inhale as you ripple the body forwards to plank. Exhale, lower down with control. Knees might need to come down first to help you come down in that lovely long straight line. Inhaling into that cobra. Exhaling back into that child pose. Inhaling onto fours. Exhaling, finding that downward dog. Pause. So again, have that little play with the position of your feet. Lifting of the hips, finding a position of the gaze that's comfortable, hands pressing forwards and down, tailbone tilting up and back. Let's bring the left foot forwards this time, so bending the knees, looking forwards, help step or spring, left foot forwards, and drop the back knee. So we'll find that lovely lunge, sweeping the arms up, but this time we'll bring the arms out level with the shoulders, just as we did when we were lying down, so thumbs up towards the ceiling. Some of you might again be able to draw the arms ever so slightly back behind the line of the body. And then we'll reach forwards and see if you can bring your palms towards one another or to touch, rounding the back. Love it. Inhaling, opening the arms wide, lifting the chest. Arms might draw back a little bit. Exhale as you round the back. See if you can bring your palms to touch. Once more, inhale. Beautiful. And exhale, So we'll take the arms out nice and wide, thumbs up towards the ceiling, open up through the chest, and then arrow the arms up towards the ceiling, upper arms frame the ears. So we've got the left knee forward, so this time it's the right arm. We take a big circle back, hand finding the bottom or top of your thigh, and reach the fingertips apart. So left arm stretches up, right fingertips reach down. You can stay there, or we begin to sink the hips forwards. So that top arm, we can reach a little bit back behind us, and the right fingertips are stretching down towards the back of your knee there. Lifting up through the heart. Beautiful, both arms arrow up into that lovely lunge. And then swim both hands down to frame that front foot. So left arm lifting, turning the chest, keep pressing into the underneath hand. And again, that top arm, you might lean back as you reach back the waist. And then both hands come down to the inside of the front foot. So snuggle that left knee into your upper arm and have a little twist to the right. Oh, it's a bit of balance challenge as well there, hey? Lovely. And then hands come all the way down to the inside of the front foot, sliding back onto all fours. And we'll pause in that child pose. Option again to keep the arms out nice and wide and long in front of you, or propping yourself up on your elbows, elbows wide, forehead towards floor, thumbs towards the back of the head, elbows pressing to the top corners of your mat, pressing them forwards and down as you sit your hips back towards your heels. Just pause there, gathering the breath into the back of the heart, the sides of the body there. Beautiful. And then reach the arms out in front of you. And then walk your hands back towards your knees. And we'll lift up into standing kneeling. So tuck the toes under, feet tucked under, and hips on top of knees. So we're going to come into our little camel preparation here. So we'll all do the first version together. So keeping the hips pressing forwards, let's reach both arms up towards the ceiling. Think about lengthening through the front seam of the body as you swim both hands behind you this time. Hands finding the lower back, fingertips point down. So keep pressing the hips forwards, loop the shoulders down and away from the ears, lift up through the heart. So keep that sense of length through the front body. You can lift the chin a little ways. So imagine you're trying to press your front body against a wall. So we're not leaning back, hips stay on top of knees, opening up through the chest. Almost imagine there's a warm hand between your shoulder blades, lifting up. Beautiful. And then slowly releasing that stretch, flattening the feet, slowly sitting back towards your heels, and then taking a little child pose. So any back issues, that's the camel variation for you. Your back feels okay, you're familiar with camel, we're going to do that once more, and we've got the option to come into that full camel pose. I'll talk you through it. So we'll walk the hands back towards us, tucking the toes, finding that standing kneeling position again. So feet and knees hip width apart. Beautiful. Hips stay on top of knees as you reach the arms up, lengthen through the front seam of the body, swim the hands back behind you, hands finding the lower back or the tops of your bottom. Again, lifting up through the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades towards one another, trying to point the elbows towards the wall behind you. You've got the option to stay there, or now this you might need to lean back a little ways as you look over one shoulder, hand finds heel, and then hand finds other heel. But then we want to push the body forward, so hips on top of knees. As you lift up through the chest, keeping the chin just tucked in a little ways, trying to avoid dropping the head too far back. I like to look straight up towards the ceiling there. So you're really squeezing the shoulder blades together, squeeze the bottom a little ways. It's a tough pose. Feel free to come up when you need to. If you're with me in camel, we bring one hand to the hip, then the other hand to the hip. Shoulders in line with hips, flatten the feet. Now, these muscles have worked a lot, so slowly sit yourself back down and slowly take a child pose. So there's all of those muscles at the back have been working quite hard there. So just take it easy there, just get a nice release. Really important that we do that counter pose of child pose to stretch it all out. Beautiful, guys, well done. And then we'll find our way back onto all fours, finding a downward dog. But from this downward dog, let's take a walk forward, feet coming towards your hands there into a little forward fold. And when you get there, and if, like me, your blood pressure in this time of year, it takes a little while to adjust, then you can always lift your head higher than your heart, just bringing your hands above your knees, so you're coming into more of a flat back. Or if you want to hang out in that forward fold, it's really nice just to release the crown of the head down. You can hang the arms, you can cradle elbows, almost let the back lengthen there. So soften the backs of the knees there so the hamstrings aren't screaming at you, and just allow the body to hang. Beautiful. And then letting go of your elbows, sliding the hands up the fronts of your legs to your shins or your thighs. Find that lovely halfway position, that lovely flat back. Draw the shoulders down away from the ears. Think about crown of head pointing forwards, tailbone lengthening back, firm up through the belly. Lovely, take a nice inhale. And as you exhale down into that forward fold, softening the knees if you need to. One more halfway lift. Inhaling, hands sliding up the fronts of the legs, finding that lovely length through the back, shoulders away from ears. And this time as you exhale, bend the knees, let the arms dangle. Chin to chest, roll your way up, slowly, slowly, slowly. No head rush, and then you lose my head. Let me come and adjust my screen so I don't decapitate myself. Beautiful. I'll come round and face you. So feet hip width apart, soften the knees a little bit, and we'll take the arms out nice and wide. So make sure you've got a little bit of space. Beautiful. So reach the fingertips apart, stretch out through the chest. And then right arm comes down, left arm comes all the way up and over into a little side bend. A little softness in the knees. Let's come back through center, widen off through the arms. And then over to the other side. So this time right arm comes up and over. Lovely. Coming all the way back up through center, turning the palms up towards the ceiling. Take a little twist to the right. So keeping the hips and the knees pointing forwards. Just moving from the waist and above, all the way back through center, and then over to the other side. So make sure one knee doesn't slide in front of the other knee. Coming all the way back. We're going to give ourselves a hug. So one arm wraps on top of the other. Maybe fingers finding your shoulder blades as you round the back, and then open up through the heart. Take the arms out nice and wide. And then other arm wrapping on top this time. Lovely. You can do that again with the breath. So inhale, take the arms out nice and wide. Exhale, right arm down, left arm overhead. Inhale, broaden the chest. Exhale, other side, like a little windmill. Lovely. Inhale through center, palms up. Exhale, take that little twist to the right, moving from the waist and above so hips and knees stay square. Ring out through the upper back. Inhale. Exhale, turn the chest. Lovely. Inhale through center, ready for that little wrap. Exhale, give yourself a hug round the back. Fingertips find the shoulder blades. And then lift the heart as you inhale like the angel of the north. Other arm wraps on top. Exhale, lovely. One more time. So inhale, really broaden, broaden, broaden. Exhale, left arm overhead. Little pushing of the hips over to the side. Inhale through center. Other arm on top, fingertips reaching down the other leg. Lovely. Inhale, turning the palms up, ready for that little twist. So soften the knees, little ways. Turn the chest to the right. Doesn't matter which way you're going because we're going to come back the other way now. So again, just take care that the knees aren't sliding forwards of each other. Ready for that big hug. Inhale. Exhale, big hug. One hand on top of the other. Finding the shoulder blades. And then lifting, lifting, lifting through the chest. Inhale. Exhale, giving yourself that big hug. Beautiful. Take the arms out nice and wide. And then this time we'll bring the hands to the heart, finding the top of your mat if you turned yourself around like I had. I'm going to be stepping the right leg back first. So just make sure you've got some space there. So think about lifting your breastbone to meet your thumbs there. So again, that lovely sense of length through the front seam of the body. And then we'll reach the arms up. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, think about the heart leading the way as we come all the way down over the legs. Coming into that halfway lift as you inhale. And as you exhale, we'll land the hands and take the right leg back. Turning the heel in, toes face the long edge of the mat. It's beautiful. And then we'll windmill the arms all the way up and out into that warrior two. Beautiful. So take a moment just to make sure that that front foot is in the middle of your mat, lining up with the arch of the back foot, arms out nice and wide. And then we'll bring the hands behind you. Left hand catches right wrist. See if you can bring that right hand either to your lower back, or some of you might be able to snuggle it into your front waist there. And then we'll reach the left arm forwards, turning the palms up. Take an inhale as you reach forwards. And as you exhale, we'll come into that lovely reverse warrior. So draw that right shoulder back as you arc the body up and over. Inhale as you reach forwards. And as you exhale, let's bring that forearm to the thigh. Rolling that right shoulder back, you might take the gaze up towards the ceiling. Adding the breath. Inhale as you sweep that left arm up and back. Keep that right shoulder drawing back. And as you exhale, let's bring forearm to thigh. You might take the gaze up as you roll that top shoulder open. Lovely. Just once more, inhale. Beautiful. This time as you exhale, we'll bring the forearm to the thigh. Keeping that top shoulder really open. Let's stretch that right arm all the way up. And if you wish, take it alongside the ear, but keep again that sense of openness, really barrel rolling the chest up, rolling that top armpit up towards the ceiling. Beautiful. You're going to come all the way back up into that warrior two, turning all 10 toes to face the long edge of the mat, bringing your hands onto your hips. Point the elbows towards the wall behind you. Take an inhale. Think about leading with your heart as you exhale, coming all the way down into that forward fold. Fingertips finding the floor. Beautiful. And then when you get down into that forward fold, just take your heels in and turn your toes out into a little V shape, not too wide there. As you soften that right knee, walk your hands over towards the right foot. So you're draping your belly over that right thigh, straightening that left leg, so we've got a little stretch on the inner thigh there. And then straightening both legs, we bring the hands back to center, taking that little walk over to the left, bending left knee, straightening the right leg, so again you've got a little stretch in one thigh. Beautiful, coming all the way back through center, turning the toes forwards, reaching one arm forwards, then the other arm forwards. So draw your weight back into your heels, trying to open your armpits up to the floor. So you're in a wide, it's almost like a little wide leg down dog position there, I guess. Lovely. And then walking the hands back towards you, softening the knees, walking your way up, back into that standing position. You can use your thighs to help you. And then this time we'll turn right foot forwards. I like to soften that back hip a little bit by just turning that left heel away from me a little bit. Bending that front knee as you really broaden through the arms. So reaching the fingertips in opposite directions there. Lovely. And then as you bring the hands behind you, this time right hand catches left wrist. And see if you can just bring that left hand. So you're bringing the back arm towards your front waist there if you're on the other leg. So you want that back shoulder nice and open. And then that front arm, so I'm reaching my right arm forwards, but if you're doing the other side, it really doesn't matter. Turning the front palm up, reach forwards, take an inhale. And as you exhale, let's arc the front arm all the way up and back into that lovely reverse warrior. Keep rolling that back shoulder open. And then we'll reach forwards and resting forearm on thigh. So you're really trying to open up through that top shoulder. You might even look up towards the ceiling. Lovely. Inhale as you arrow that arm all the way up and back. Keep the front knee bent. And as you exhale, forearm finds thigh again. You might take the gaze up as you roll that shoulder open. Lovely. One more time. Inhale. So the legs stay strong, pressing into the outside edge of both feet. So this time we'll find the thigh. Option to keep the hand behind you, or keeping the shoulder open, reaching up. And maybe overhead, palm down, lifting ear towards upper arm, stretching out through that left side of the body. Beautiful, and then we'll come all the way back up into that warrior two, turning your toes forwards. You can either bring your hands to your hips, or if shoulders feel okay, we'll bring the hands behind you and interlace them. Draw the knuckles down, take a nice breath in. And as you breathe out and hinge forwards, the arms might lift up and over. If that doesn't work for you, fingertips finding the floor. So we're going to come into that little move we did before. Now you can keep the arms lifted or bring your fingertips to the floor. So turning the heels in, toes out ever so slightly. Bend the right knee and take the body over towards your right thigh. So left leg is straight, right knee is bent. Lovely. Straighten both legs as you come back to center. Dipping over towards the left. So left knee bends as you take the body over towards the left. One more each way. Inhaling hips high. If it's too much for the arms lifted, then bring your fingertips down towards the floor. Just walk them around to each foot. Inhale through center. Last time over to the left. Woo! Back through center. You've still got the arms lifted. Well done. Bring the hands down to the low back. Fingertips find the floor. Walk one hand forwards. Other hand forwards, up on fingertips. Sink the weight back to your heels. Press your fingertips down and open your armpits up to the floor. Oh, lovely. Beautiful, beautiful, guys. And then we'll walk the hands back towards you. Just come up onto your fingertips so you can lift your chest. Just making sure blood pressure adjusts. And then I'm just going to turn over my left foot. Really doesn't matter which foot you turn over. So both hands frame one foot, all 10 toes face the same direction. So you can easily step back into a downward dog, widening your feet this time, dropping down onto all fours, pointing the big toes towards one another. And I'm going to make a little support for my head, bending my elbows, resting one hand on top of the other, and then resting forehead on hands. So even though my forehead will reach the floor, just by taking the elbows wide, it offers my upper back another opportunity to broaden. So if that doesn't work for you, just stretch the arms out in front of you. But I really like this version, just to almost imagine again, there's a really warm hand, just gently pressing down between your shoulder blades. So you can just allow the heart to melt forwards and ways. Lovely, softening, softening. Beautiful. If, like me, you've got your head supported on your hands, just taking your time to elongate the arms, stretch out through the arms, and then walk the hands back towards you so you can lift your chest, point both knees forwards, drop the hips to one side, and just swish the legs out in front of you. Lovely. I'll come round to facing now, guys. Lovely. So just making sure that you're sitting right on top of your sit bones. We'll draw the right heel in towards you. Sitting up nice and tall there. So we've got lots of options. We can keep the foot where it is. You can cross it over the left thigh. Or you can lean into your left sitting bone and just swish the foot behind you. So you're sitting between your heels there, but make sure you've got enough space for both bottoms to stay on the floor there. So we've got the right knee coming in towards the chest. Left hand or left elbow gives it a squeeze. Right arm lifts. Let's take a nice breath in. And as you breathe out and come into that little twist, bringing the right hand to the floor, either behind your right hip, or some of you might even be able to walk your fingertips towards your left hip. So you're opening up through that back shoulder a little bit more. So really doing whatever feels comfortable there to find that lovely sense of rotation through the upper back. Making sure you're not lifting the buttocks, so you're really sitting heavily into that right sit bone. And some of us will need more space, so never being afraid to use your hand rather than your elbow to give that knee a little scoop. Lovely. And then keeping the legs as they are, slowly release from that twist. Just bring the body back to center and then just turn it in the opposite direction. So you're wringing out the spine the opposite way, decompressing. Lovely, and then we'll come back to center and give the legs a swish in front of you. And then we'll try the other side. So left heel comes in. If you're crossing the leg over, make sure you can bring your big toe to the floor. And then if you can root down through that left sit bone, you can swish that other leg behind you. So you're sitting between your heels. Yeah, doesn't work for everyone, and one side might not like it. So this time it's the left knee in towards the chest. So it's right hand or elbow. So if you're using the elbow lifts the sit bone, just use the hand. So this time left arm takes that big circle. So just by circling, we're opening through the chest. Fingertips either finding the floor behind your left hip. Some of you might be able to walk a little further around towards the opposite hip there, towards your right sit bones. Lovely. One side might feel different. Oh. Oh, I want to feel heart open, full of love. It's remarkable, isn't it, when we do a heart opening or a shoulder practice, you suddenly realise how much tension we do hold, or at least I am aware how much tension I hold in my back. Slowly, slowly, we'll come back to centre. And then we'll just decompress, have a little twizzle around the opposite way. And then release, give the legs a shake. I'm sure one of the reasons I get so tight is because I'm short. And when you're short, you do tend to have good posture because you make the most of the inches that you've got, but you tend to overcompensate by really drawing the shoulders back and thrusting what little chest I've got forward. So I think I overdo things somewhat. And tall people tend to have the opposite and kind of want to make themselves smaller. So yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how our posture changes. Let's bring your heels close in towards your bottom and ease your way down onto your back. Walking your heels in towards your bottom there, so your feet are hip width apart and both knees point up towards the ceiling. Let's end with a lovely shoulder bridge. So as you push your hips down, begin to elevate your hips up towards the ceiling there. So pushing your feet down, just pressing into the base of the big toes so you're not rolling your knees out to the side. Some of you might want it stay quite low there as you finish off, or some of you might have a little juice in the tank to tuck the shoulder blades towards one another and interlace the hands. So as you press the hands down, we can bring your chest towards your chin. You might need to slide your head up and away from your little waist. Beautiful. This really strengthens all of that back seam of the body there. It's a strong pose, so feel free to release whenever. If you can, just hold for a couple more breaths, gently squeezing the bottom. Arcing the body up. Lovely. And then some of you might want to lift up your heels to release your arms alongside you. And you might even want to keep your heels lifted as you slowly, slowly ripple the spine down. Each vertebrae touching the mat. Almost one at a time, if you can imagine that. And when your hips touch down, heels touch down, and let's end with a delicious full body stretch. Elongating arms and legs. Taking up that lovely sense of space. You can even bring the arms out in a lovely wide V shape again, if that's more comfortable. My back arches a little bit there as I just point my toes, and that feels quite nice there. And then as you just soften back in, and releasing the arms down alongside you. And if you've got to pop off, if you've got things to do that you need to whiz off and get done on this Sunday, feel free, and thank you for coming along. But if you want to join me just for a couple of minutes to chill out, feel free to stay exactly as you are. Finding a moment. If you're in a chillier room, we're getting to that time of year where you might want a little blanket or a jumper to one side. So get yourself nice and comfortable. And if your breath feels a little ragged or you're feeling a bit kind of overwhelmed, a lot to do or a lot on your mind, then again, just a gentle hand resting on your chest and on your belly not only brings you back into your breath, but can be really comforting. There was a very interesting program on the radio this week, or last week, the results of what they called the touch test. It's a big study where they were looking at the importance of touch for human beings, and the results were really, really interesting. We all need touch, perhaps a forgotten sense. So no matter where you are with your arms, just allow the body to begin to soften and settle there. And let's just remind ourselves of those lovely words from the beginning. So put your hand on your heart, the old man said. Inside you, there is a power. There are ideas, thoughts that no one has ever thought of. There is a strength to love, purely and intensely, and to have someone love you back. There is the power to make people happy and to make people laugh. The heart is full of compliments and has the power to change lives and futures. Don't forget that power and don't ever give up on it. So feeling the heart swell as you inhale, and then the back of the heart softening down into the mat as you exhale. And the heart in yoga is called anahata. Anahata. I always like the translation of the word because it means unbroken. When we think about our hearts being broken or through sadness, there's something kind of recognized within the power of yoga. The heart is strong. Anahata, unbroken, unshakable. Power within all of us. So just giving yourself a moment to breathe. And when you're ready, beginning to draw the breath in a little bit more deeply on that inhale, getting ready for the day ahead, the week ahead, hopefully feeling a little bit more open. You might want to return to that full body stretch. You might just want to linger, bringing your knees straight in towards your chest. And that's where we'll all end up. Just giving the knees a little squeeze, taking your time to get there, doing whatever you need to do before you get there. Sometimes it's nice just to release tension from the lower back, especially if you've been lying outstretched, by having a little rock side to side. Lovely. And then bringing the feet down to the floor, rolling onto your right side or your left side, wherever there's the least amount of furniture, the most amount of space. Lovely. And sort of join the hands together in lovely mudra, a gesture of prayer, and bringing your heart to meet your thumbs. So that sense of lifting up. Lovely, softening the shoulders, allowing the chin to drop down towards your chest. And from my heart to yours, thank you for joining me on this Sunday morning, this glorious morning. Namaste. Go and enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Thank you, thank you. There we go. Let's pop everybody.